A wrestling pay-per-view can either end with fans satisfied with a good showing, or at least in these occasions, regret they ever watched it, leaving a bad taste in their mouths. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 13 of the worst pay-per-view finishes of all time. Just a note, they're in no particular order. Number 1. WrestleMania 9, Hogan vs Yoko. As you can see, pay-per-view finishes have been botched for decades, as witnessed by 1993's Showcase of the Immortals, where Yokozuna cheated his way to a WWF Championship win over Bret the Hitman Hart. Las Vegas was the appropriate home for WrestleMania 9, as the fix was clearly in as Hulk Hogan made his way down to the ring, challenged Yoko for the title and promptly defeated him, somehow walking out with the WWF Championship yet again, despite not even being booked in the match. Wrestling legend has it that the crazy finish was going to set up a Hogan vs Hart match at SummerSlam, but Hogan denies it, while the Hitman claims Hogan backed out. Whatever the case, the finish fell flat and had fans scratching their heads over what just happened. Number 2. Halloween Havoc 1995. No list of bad pay-per-view finishes would be complete without mentioning some of WCW's problematic pay-per-views. In 1995, WCW champion Hulk Hogan defended the belt against rookie wrestler The Giant. The match ended when Hogan's manager Jimmy Hart inexplicably attacked the referee with the WCW championship. In a shocking turn of events, translation stupid, Hart revealed he'd placed a clause in Hogan's contract that the champion could lose the title by disqualification. As stupid as that was, the real flop of a finish was when the Yeti ran into the ring, joining the Giant in locking Hogan in a double bear hug. At least that's what we hoped was going on. Number 3. Hell in a Cell 2018 and 19. When you put two wrestlers who are in a heated rivalry for the championship inside the demonic structure, it's safe to say a winner must be concluded. But for the last 2 years in a row, the WWE has ruined the gimmick by not even having a decisive finish for not one, but 2 main event matches involving championships, souring the night completely. 2018's Hell in a Cell match between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, this was Strowman's Money in the Bank cash-in match, confusingly ended in a no contest when Brock Lesnar interfered. You might be scratching your head as interferences have happened in the past, but yet they've never led to such an inconclusive finish. But not to be outdone with silly and confusing finishes, the following year saw The Fiend vs Seth Rollins with a calamitous end. What was thought to be a disqualification finish was later confirmed as referee stoppage, as the referee feared for The Fiend's safety. Nevertheless, both pay-per-views ended with a roar of boos. We just wonder what they've got for a finish next year. How about Falls Count Anywhere matches ending with a count-out? Or possibly a last man standing match ending in pinfall? Number 4. Starrcade 1997. WCW's flagship event was the culmination of over a year of build-up, with Sting finally emerging from the rafters to face the New World Order's leader and WCW champion Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the main event. As fans waited to see Hogan finally get his comeuppance, they instead saw a finish that made 0 sense. The match saw Hogan cover Sting for the pin, with referee Nick Patrick making a normal 3 count. Bret Hart, who had just entered WCW following the events of the Montreal Screwjob, was seated at ringside and ran into the ring, protesting what he called a fast count and swearing he wasn't going to see the events of Montreal happen again. Hart took it upon himself to take over as referee and restarted the match, with Sting winning after locking Hogan into the Scorpion Deathlock. Unbeknownst to the fans, the finish was booked to feature Patrick making a fast count, thus justifying Hart's interference. Instead, Hogan reportedly talked with Patrick before the match and made sure he made a normal 3 count. Here, Bret didn't screw Bret, Hogan screwed Bret, a harbinger of Hart's entire sabotaged WCW career. Number 5. King of the Ring 1999. As entertaining as the war between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mr. McMahon was, the legendary program had reached its expiration date, as seen by the handicap ladder match pitting Vince and Shane McMahon against Steve Austin for the control of WWF. The foolish finish saw Austin reach for the briefcase to gain control of the WWF, only for it to somehow rise out of his reach. The McMahons regrouped, attacked Austin and grabbed the briefcase, which was just mysteriously lowered. The finish might have worked, but the WWF failed to explain who had caused the briefcase to rise and fall. Some say it was the Big Boss Man, but it was never confirmed. But an even bigger mystery was who booked Billy Gunn to win the King of the Ring tournament that same year. Number 6. Uncensored 1999. Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair's animosity for each other reached the point where the two squared off in a steel cage first blood match at WCW Uncensored. Here, Flair told referee Charlie Robinson to use his discretion with ending it at the sight of blood, as Flair apparently wanted to punish the heel Hollywood Hulk Hogan. However, at one point, Flair's face transformed into the crimson mask long associated with him, and incredibly, the referee didn't end the match at that point, and it continued. Ultimately, the Nature Boy won the match after conking Hogan with a tire iron and covering for the pin as Robinson made a lightning fast count. Per the match's stipulation, Flair became WCW president for life. Had he lost, he would have been forced to retire. Again, the match saw one of wrestling's rare double turns as well as one of its craziest endings. Number 7. Breaking Point 2009. Anyone who doubts Mr. McMahon's disdain for the fans can look at nearly every WWE pay-per-view or television show that's taken place in Montreal since 1997's infamous Montreal Screwjob. In 2009, World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, who was playing a heel at the time, battled The Undertaker, with Taker seemingly having the match wrapped up when he locked Punk in the Hell's Gate and the champion gave up. Unfortunately, the hold had been banned by Vicky Guerrero and Teddy Long restarted the match. Punk managed to apply his finisher, the Anaconda Vice, with the bell ringing despite Undertaker never having submitted. No matter how much the fans want to forget the Montreal Screwjob, Mr. McMahon is committed to keeping it fresh in their minds. Number 8. Victory Road 2011. Sadly, Jeff Hardy's battles with personal demons date far back in his wrestling career, including his 2011 debacle where wrestling's chemically incapacitated Enigma worked the TNA event's top match against Sting in no condition to perform. The awful 1 minute and 28 seconds match featured Sting trying to keep Hardy from hurting anyone and somehow salvage the match. To his credit, Sting kept himself and Hardy from getting hurt, but the match was a complete disaster, with Sting somehow landing a Scorpion Death Drop and forcing a cover for the win. It's no doubt why it was considered one of the worst matches in history. Number 9. WrestleMania 27. It's been said that Vince McMahon plans his WrestleMania main events a year in advance, and the finish to WrestleMania 27 is evidence of this, as well as evidence that the WWE will do whatever it wants in its main event, regardless of whether it makes any sense. Here, The Miz was enjoying his first WWE Championship reign, as well as his first WrestleMania main event, as he defended the belt against John Cena. The match was going well and showed how much The Miz had grown as a wrestler over the past few years. But things went sideways, however, as The Miz and Cena battled outside the ring, leading to a count-out finish. The Rock, who was serving as WrestleMania's special host, showed up and restarted the match as a no disqualification, no count-out event. The match continued, only for The Rock to hit Cena with a rock bottom and Miz covering him for the win. The Rock then laid out The Miz and posed as the show went off the air. Incredibly, this nonsensical finish was designed to set up the main event for WrestleMania 28. The not once but twice in a lifetime match. Number 10. Battleground 2013. Vince Russo gets his fair share of blame for some of wrestling's silliest storylines and failed finishes, but as we can see here, Russo isn't the only self-deluded storyteller. In 2013, Daniel Bryan battled Randy Orton for the vacant WWE Championship. The match was another example of Bryan's amazing in-ring skills and was nearing the 25-minute mark when the Big Show appeared, knocking out Bryan. Was Show helping Randy Orton and the Authority by laying out Bryan? No, because Show then knocked out both men, ending the match in a no contest and infuriating fans who actually paid money to watch the show. Number 11. Hell in a Cell 2014. While Hell in a Cell is generally regarded as the final match for two feuding wrestlers, as we've noted before, its finishes don't always make sense. In 2014, Dean Ambrose was battling former Shield brother Seth Rollins, seeking revenge for the Architect betraying the Shield by aligning with Triple H and the Authority. Here, the WWE betrayed the fans' intelligence when it ran a bizarre finish involving Bray Wyatt. After the lights went out, Wyatt's lantern appeared in the ring as smoke poured out along with what looked to be a ghost. As Wyatt's voice was heard chanting, the fans saw Wyatt emerge and attack Ambrose, allowing Rollins to get the win. This led to a feud between Ambrose and Wyatt as well as another failed finish. Number 12. TLC 2014. What should have been an exciting feud between the Lunatic Fringe and the Eater of the Worlds was an utter disappointment, with the feud's finish symbolizing everything that was wrong with the WWE's creative department, or Vince McMahon. Ambrose and Wyatt battled in a tables, ladders and chairs match, with both men using every weapon they could find to finish their opponent. This turned out to be a mistake for Ambrose when he grabbed a television monitor from ringside and dragged it into the ring to use against Wyatt. Perhaps unaware of basic electrical safety, Ambrose failed to unplug the monitor and it blew up on him, making him easy prey for Bray Wyatt. While the finish may have served as a good public safety message, it was a terrible ending to an equally terrible feud. Number 13, the Royal Rumble 2015. As bad as the WWE erred in putting Batista over as the winner of the 2014 Royal Rumble, it only worsened the bad blood between it and the WWE Universe when it put Roman Reigns over as 2015's winner. While choosing Reigns as the winner was bad enough, things got even worse as Reigns eliminated the Authority's henchmen Kane and the Big Show, only for both men to return and start double-teaming the Big Dog. Reigns got some surprise help from his cousin The Rock as the People's Champion ran in, allowing Reigns to eliminate his remaining opponent Rusev. But not even the presence of The Rock could salvage the erupting boos when Reigns was announced as the winner. And one honourable mention, Halloween Havoc 1998. Although 1998's Halloween Havoc will forever be lambasted for the disastrous Hogan vs Ultimate Warrior match, the main event saw a finish unusual, not because of bad booking, but because of bad time management. Here, the main event between WCW champion Bill Goldberg and DDP had barely begun when the pay-per-view cut out as WCW ran out of time, having mismanaged the show's runtime. This led to WCW being forced to issue a number of refunds to angry pay-per-view customers, and the entire match was replayed the next night on Nitro. But there you have it guys, the 13 worst pay-per-view finishes of all time. Again, just to reiterate, we're not saying the overall pay-per-view was bad, just the finish. But do you agree with our list? Are there any you think should be added to the list? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.